people even said, you should write a book on it. So, okay, I did. I wrote 3 books on it. And they're still relevant today. There we are, getting the logs mounted. Kids and me built the house. There's tires being pounded, not stuffed anymore. You put them in position and beat the dirt in with a sledgehammer. You stuff it in first. There you put in cardboard. You're going to do all this tomorrow. And the tire becomes this big brick. It's a big steel belted rubber encased brick. Fantastic. Termites don't eat it. It doesn't rot. It doesn't go away. It doesn't burn. Believe it or not, when they're packed like that, they don't even burn. When they're all stacked up in a pile, they spontaneously combust like a wad of loosely wadded newspaper. But you take a New York Times phone book and try to torch it, it doesn't work. That's the way this is. A lot of people, that's the first thing they say, well, tires will burn. No, they won't, not when they're done like this. Pack them out. You're going to be doing this with mud and cans and bottles. Pack them out further. And the cans are the same way. The pop tops are nice metal lath to plaster. That's what it ends up looking like. And that's what the tire walls end up looking like, plastered. And that is the first earthship. So all of those things went through all of these different pieces of property and attempts, and not even knowing what we were doing, just trying to live in a way that you could dream about, let's say. And it ended up being what we call an earthship. And then next thing, the movie guy Dennis Weaver comes by and he wants one. This woman wanted one. Everybody wanted them, and we're building them. This one still exists. They call it the sun catcher. That shows a spring or a fall shot, because if it was winter, the sun would be low and going all the way into the building. And if it was summer, it would be high and only coming into the planter. It's just that simple. I'll talk more about that in thermodynamics. Local president of a savings and loan, he bought one. You know, these are houses made of garbage, and people are buying them. And they're starting to look like a functional thing. These are planters like that, only this is before we started running gray water through them. We just made planters to grow food. Then we started saying, wait, why don't we water them with our gray water, since water is so scarce here. And early rocker arm gravity-powered skylights, another phenomena. Then the guy Dennis Weaver, the movie guy. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but he was Gunsmoke and McCloud, and he had TV series and stuff. Anyway, he sends somebody down, and then he comes down with his wife, and they want one. So we build them $1.5 million one in Ridgeway, Colorado, near Telluride. They call it an earth yacht. And he was a nice guy. He meant well, but he wanted, like a movie star, he wanted to get famous for building this house, and he already, his acting career was flailing. But he said, I want to show people on this planet how they should live. And I'm saying, Dennis, you're building a 10,000 square foot house with 26 jets in your jacuzzi. You really think that's how people should live? I don't care if it's solar. I don't care if it's made of garbage. This house would have half the people in Port-au-Prince could live in this house. So he didn't like that. But it was good. It was still good what he did. We used he caused people. He gave it credibility by doing this, and the house came out beautiful. So there's the house. They were very conservative. See, I'd have had a jungle in that room. They got one single tree, lonely tree. But the house did come out beautiful. Big earthship. Very well landscaped, and it was great. It did a lot. There's the whole north view, and there's the earth yacht. Talk more about the power system and the electrical part. But all of the earthship stuff in the earthship books is put together in this house. Then people started buying the book. They bought volume 1 and built this house in northern Illinois. I've never even been to it. But it shows that volume 1 can guide you through how to build a house. The books are pretty thorough. The thing is, things have evolved, but how to pound a tire, how to lay cans, it's still the same. A lot of the principles are still the same. We've just gotten into more firm directions relative to what we've learned. So we want a challenge at this point. So we found some land halfway up this mountain. People call it dog land. We've got 55 acres up there. They call it dog land because you can't do anything on it. You can't drill a well. You can't do a sewage system. Can't get power up there. Can't build up there. So we said, we're going to do it. And we did. And we did. And so we took our little team of people, went up there, built what we call reach. And again, it's severe and harsh, but at the same time, it's beautiful. The people, some of you are staying up there. Everybody should, at one point or another, Kirsten will help you, get up there and see what it's like to be at reach. To set up on the decks up there and watch the town have a blackout, or watch a storm coming in, or, smoke a joint, whatever. There's reach being carved out of the mountainside. Again, basically me and a bunch of kids built reach. We put the buildings, 3 buildings together in the summer and spring and summer and fall, got them enclosed and worked up there all winter. Carrying bags of cement up there to mix inside the solar building. I'll tell you what I think we're going to do too. I got to go to New Zealand Saturday, and I haven't figured it out yet how to get it to happen with all of you, but at least I'm trying to. Up above reach, you go to reach, you're going to be breathless and blown away. Way up above reach, I've got an excavation. And there's no way to get there except walk, carrying everything. So anybody that wants to, and it'll have to be in groups of 8 or something like that, or maybe half of the group or something, if you want to. It's altitude, but we're going to walk up to the very top of reach, and we're going to start building a simple survival up there. Everything's going to be carried in on our backs, tools, tires. There's no way we can get busted because the building permit people can't even get up. That's the point. We're going to make that point, but also it's going to be an unbelievable place to put a simple survival. The simple survival that these guys from Sweden are living in, we're going to build that up there. It's going to have hot water. It's going to have a flush toilet. It's going to have everything, and it's going to be up there with the eagles. And it's going to take us many academies to do it because we'll only get 2 days up there this session. But just for you to start it will be an amazing thing. I don't know if Kirsten even knows I'm planning that, but it's going to mess with her curriculum, but I'll give you a pass. So we carved reach into the mountains. There's my grandson. I'm talking to him about the future. He's not buying it. Dad, Granddad, I want a flat screen TV and video games. What the hell is this earthship shit? And there's the house up there. I don't know where Kirsten's got you. Probably some of you are in the lower house and some in the upper. There was very little drawings for these. Bananas growing at 9,000 feet. Again, I lived there. When I was there were grapevines and bananas. And again, I definitely see these buildings as very similar to the earth. We've had a lot of people, just anybody, living in them. And they didn't understand them. They didn't care for them, and they just got trashed. And people just they'd run out the solar power and put in generators and whatever. Now we're trying to bring the consciousness back to these buildings, and I do see it as a parallel to what's going on this planet. Just like they're raping and tearing out all the trees on the planet. Well, that's what they do with the greenhouse. If I turn this building loose to people, they wouldn't take care of these plants. They'd hack that thing out and put a TV there or something. And that's the sewage system. That's oxygen. That's food. That's the earth. We're bringing the earth into our lives in these buildings. So the Reach building was, actually, the truth is with Reach is I got a permission letter from the state saying I could go up to Reach and do whatever I wanted, basically. I think I still have the letter. For 3 years I could do that. Well, that's 30 years ago, I'm still doing it. I overstepped my bounds. So Reach. We played the thermal mass refrigerator up there. It's full of beer as thermal mass, but the people keep drinking the beer. Yep. And out at Star, we did a community out in the boonies. That's the Reach kitchen, Reach refrigerator, my house. The lower house, carved into the granite stone, there's Reach. That's why the building inspectors can't get up there. They can't even walk up there. I mean, we had interns even then. Back in the summer when we were building it, a tire got loose up here. Some interns were down here with a little sick chihuahua. The tire goes bouncing, bouncing, bouncing down the hill and squashes right on top of the chihuahua. That was the first intern casualty. There's Reach. You can hardly see it in the snow. I mean, that's available anywhere on this planet. We got flush toilets and TVs and lights and hot water. I mean, you can live like that, in that. I mean, you know, sometimes I think like, well, why didn't I just stay at Reach? But every place I had to go and go someplace else and go someplace else. So, but staying at Reach, it would have been a paradise. But now we're going back and making it a paradise. And talk about steep, I'm not exaggerating. That's Reach. And just more shots of Reach. Building at Reach. Water cisterns at Reach. The view at Reach. Steepness of Reach. Kitchen at Reach. Some of you are in this house. Some of you are in this house. It's beautiful going through the seasons up there. We carved them into the mountain. They're still there 20 years later. They're not sliding down the mountain. Way up, there's another one that we built. And the one I'm talking about doing with you all is way up from that. You can't even see the area. But using all of these techniques up at the Reach mountain situation, there's $1 million one down there below Reach. This is a little room in my building up there being built. And that's the view from Reach. So, Reach was a community effort, attempt. Very steep. And finally they said we can't build anymore up there because you can't get emergency vehicles up there. So we're still going to do it, but we have to keep it quiet. So I go out that way before this community happened. I get 640 acres and we do the Star community. Same story. It's beautiful out there, but people get out there and they get lonely and scared and everything. So that's why we came back and tried another one here on the highway, and this one's successful. Because people can get in their car and go to town and have a margarita, go to Walmart, they can feel normal. Out here at Star, you know, it's a 7 miles of bumpy road, and if they work in town, it's hard to get back, and it's lonely out there, it's isolated. But here's one of the buildings out at the Star community that we're still going to work through the Star community, but we had to put this one in front of it to finance that one. There's a thermal mass refrigerator and a kitchen out at Star. There's the first gray water planter. I'll go into that later. But that's how the first gray water planted out at Star. And there's what I'll show you that in the gray water section. Then, again, just like Reach being harsh and too steep, Star being too far out and too lonely and too isolated, we do the greater world. That's this. And it's successful because it's on a highway. And it's still going. And so there's the map of the greater world. Notice the lots are, most of them, circular. And that's so that animals and snakes and creatures and plants can still move through and not be displaced. In other words, we're placing ourselves in their territory, not just pushing them away, paving and fencing. And so you can't even do anything but ride a horse or walk through all this area. And notice that you can go from one end of the community to the other and never go on any private land. That's 2.5 miles. And that's the way we should continue developing this planet. There's the truth. Sandhill Creams land, and they're not on anybody's property. They're on the land that they used to land on. And I believe there is elk go through. I mean, this is just a few months ago we saw, not these, but another herd of about 40 elk just cruising through. A bear has cruised through. Snakes are still around. I mean, we are joining the life out here, but not wiping it out. And I think we're trying to make a statement there. These are buildings that are built out here at the greater world. They're much more sophisticated than some of the things that you have seen in the history and are living in now. Angel's Nest is what it used to be. Now it's the Hive. And the gravel pit reclamation project that's over here, it was a gravel pit, so we're just going to fill it full of earthships. There it is from the air. And there's lots of earthships around here now. And buildings in the gravel pit. Well, they're not so early earthships, but they certainly are. They certainly aren't as far as the global is now. We had a rock and roll show in the gravel pit, solar powered. Buildings in the gravel pit. Early packaged earthship. I won't go into this. This is just from the ground up on a packaged earthship. Packaged means we used to package it, take it in a truck, and erect it, basically. So, let's see here. What have we got? I think we're into stuff that we don't want to go to right now. So, that's the history. Now, it doesn't go to global model and simple survival and vaulted global. These are present. They're not history. They're what we're doing now. We're going to go heavily into them. I think we're talking about thermal solar dynamics this afternoon, and that's when we get into those. But this is all the stuff that led to the thinking that we're playing with now. It never stops growing. It never stops evolving. We never stop learning. We learn with you. You're learning. We're trying really to put you in the situation that we've been in for 40 years. You know, back into history, in the learning experiences, seeing the mistakes, seeing that this is not just, you know, a beautiful idea that we got overnight. It's 40 years of evolution and mistakes. And you are really getting an opportunity to go from the ground as far as you can go in 6 weeks on a global model earthship, which is a machine of the future. And the simple survival will be the same, only much cheaper. And if I can pull it together, I'll split you into 2, if not 3 groups, and climb to the top of the mountain and pound some tires for the simple survival in the sky. All right, you guys got to have some lunch. I got to have something, and I'll see you in about an hour here. All right.